Hello and welcome to the OKPreps Extra Show. It's Friday, May 23rd. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis. Kind of a fun time of the year, Barry. Spring football. You and our colleague Bill Haston have been out making your rounds around the area, doing some spring football reports. Always informative stuff. It's always great when you can write about high school football. Let's just leave it, start there. You've been at a couple places. We'll talk about those. Let's start with the Jenks Trojans. You were out in Jenks on Thursday. How'd that go?
Yes, it was an enjoyable visit. All my visits have been enjoyable. It's a lot of fun because, well, of course, three of the four visits I made this week, I call this Defending State Champions Week. So what's there not to be enjoying? Three of the four schools I visited are defending state champions. So it's good times, and all those state champions that I visited are looking. The off season went by really quick, and but they're all looking forward to getting back into action. The one team that I visited this past week that is not a defending state champion is Jenks, which came oh so close last year, losing that triple overtime game to Owasso in the semifinals, that classic, and then Owasso lost in overtime to Bixby. So that just shows you how close Jenks was. But Jenks looks loaded, even though they lost Samaj Stanford, which to Broken Arrow, their outstanding defensive back, who will also make an impact on offense. But they've still got a lot of big time players coming back, including running back Katie Jones, one of the best players in the state, and offensive lineman Riley Kester, who's just his recruiting stock is really zooming. And they've got a lot of really talented players. They're definitely going to be a state title contender. The one question mark they have is at quarterback. And I asked Katie Jones, like, is it going to be strange not having Owen Jones next to you at quarterback? As for 3 years, whether it's been a Broken Arrow at Jenks, he's been next to Owen Jones. So, but Katie's looking forward to having a big year. And they've got three quarterbacks that got a long look at them in practice yesterday. I think Landon Kazar, who was their backup last year, may have the edge, but then this was interesting. They may play all three of them. Uh, Head coach Adam Gaylor was indicating. He said, at least two of them. After all, he said, well, Bixby's shown that two quarterback system can work really well. So all three of the quarterbacks, from what I saw in practice yesterday, and I got a pretty long look yesterday, they all look good. They all have different skill sets a bit. They all do things, and so you can see why they might play all three quarterbacks because they all bring something a little different to the offense. At least that's what I perceived from my observations.
Well, you mentioned Bixby. You were there today being Friday. Your thoughts on the defending champs, Spartans?
Just so loaded. On the defensive side of the ball, we'll start there first. Last year, they hardly had anybody coming back. That's why a lot of people were wondering if Bixby could repeat as state champion last year. Well, their defense did just fine, and now they've got just about everybody back on defense. So really loaded. OSU linebacker commit Trey McLaughlin's on the defense. They're just, of course, Cord Nolan, Texas Tech commit. Braden Presley, hot prospect. He's getting a lot of major college offers. He just really took off at the end of last year in the secondary. And then, of course, the offense got Carson Kirby back at quarterback. He could wind up breaking the all-time Bixby passing records, and that's saying a lot if he has a big year, if he just stays on pace. And, of course, you've got the transfer from Owasso, outstanding running back Jason Mull. So, and plus just a lot of quality returning receivers. So Bixby is loaded again.
Are they going to be your preseason number one? Granted, you have a little bit of time before you have to make that decision, but just sitting here today, how you feeling?
I usually I've made no secret of this through the years, unless proven otherwise. I like to go with a team as number one, a defending champion is number one, until proven otherwise, or if they look like they just didn't have anyone coming back, and there was another team that just made uh, one of the other contenders just looked overwhelming. And there have been some years when that's sort of been the case, but especially in other classes. But I think Bixby's got so much coming back. I'm going to pick them as number one until shown otherwise. Hey, 10 state championships in 11 years. I think they're a pretty good team to pick as number one.
Pretty safe bet. Okay, so who would be number two then?
Um, Jenks looks really loaded. I mean, all haven't Owasso. I mean, again, you think of Owasso being so close last year, how good they were last year.
Hmm.
They were number one until the final play of the season, virtually, and can't count them out. Obviously, I think they'll be right there. Owasso and Jenks looking really good, and of course, Union and Broken Arrow, which Broken Arrow could be the team, the most improved team of the season. Although they were starting to make a breakthrough last year before the coaching change. But I think um, with Travis Hill there, and there's a lot of new people there, and I just have a feeling that whether it's this year or the year after, gonna see a Broken Arrow turnaround similar to what Travis Hill did at Muskogee.
Let's talk about TPS for just a second. And specifically Booker T. Washington, what's life going to look like post Dan Bitson for the Hornets this year?
Well, our readers will get a glimpse of what life was going to look like as Bill on Sunday in Sunday's editions of the Tulsa World, as Bill Haston was out at Booker T. Washington yesterday, and that's going to be our. That's 2 days ago, I guess. Time just flies by. I was with Bill. Bill was with me at Jenks yesterday. So he's going to give an inside look at what's going on at Booker T. Washington and what is life like after Dan Bitson. So it's Booker T's got a great defense, and you can learn more all about that in Sunday's Tulsa World.
Let's go back to a place that you visited. You opened the show talking about it was kind of the defending champions tour to a degree. You were out in Owasso checking in with Rejoice Christian earlier this week. What do you make of them?
Yeah, Rejoice Christian, when you got a Class A1 team that has two big time college recruits, well, that's a good start right there. I mean, because not many Class A teams have two big time college recruits getting Power Four offers, but Rejoice Christian does have that with their 6'5" receiver, ZZ Aquilifulize. I hope I'm close on that. I just call
It
him
feels like
ZZ.
you were close. Feels like you were close on that.
In Camion Compton Nero is just a sophomore now. ZZ, and the amazing thing is these guys didn't even had great years last year when they didn't even participate in spring football because ZZ
Mhm.
was still focused on basketball before Coach Marley talked him into, hey, why don't you give football a try? It may work out for you. Wow. And now he's 12 major college offers later. It's working out. And then Kemian Comptonero wasn't in spring football last year because he was just wrapping up his eighth grade year and too young for spring football. And he was all over the field last year. He's being projected. He's already got four big time college offers, and he's going into his sophomore year, and that'll just probably go up. He's being projected in college as a safety or an athlete, are probably mostly looking as a safety, but he's going to be take over at quarterback this year. He's going to be Rejoice's starting quarterback, and that's going to be fun to watch. And it's going to be an interesting offense. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have a great receiver to throw to, a 6'5" receiver to go to. I like the anecdote that Coach Marley gave about a play that caught Ben Arbuckle's attention in that first game last year. ZZ just coming back to the team, and he catches a slant pass over three defenders, and then boom, shot like a cannon, heads to the end zone. And he said that caught Ben Arbuckle, the OU offensive coordinator's attention. So he's got such exciting potential. The whole team does, and haven't even talked about they've got a 1,000-yard running back returning, Noah Goodwin, who was in Alaska at this time last year. So you had three of their top players who weren't even in spring practice last year. So they were enjoying getting to be in spring practice this year. So just
It's
think
kind
of
of,
how good they're going to be.
are they going to be better than last year?
They definitely could be, just because all those individuals I've named, they were just getting adjusted to the program last year. And I mean, those are big. They've got some big shoes to fill, but they definitely have that potential.
Speaking of defending champions, you also checked out Lincoln Christian. How'd they look?
Um, they looked really good. It's funny. They were going to be my first stop this week, but their opening day of practice, spring practice, as was happened to a lot of teams, got deluged out with that storm that hit Monday. So they got interrupted, but I made it back out there, and they're looking for. It's sort of weird. I wrote this headline said for a quiet. You know, they're having a aiming for a quieter spring. I don't know if that's the exact way to word it, but when I say quieter spring, that's not having some big time players leave, which has happened to them the previous two springs, including their leading receiver on each of those occasions. So if they could just have a nice quiet spring where they install their packages and no one leaves and everyone's healthy, that would be just fine with them because they've got a lot of talent coming back, including their starting quarterback, Carter Rickey, who threw for 43 touchdowns last season. So they're just looking to have a nice quiet spring, and they looked really good.
What else is on your mind, Barry?
Last week, wow, what a week of what a couple of weeks of state championships. Um, we of course had the baseball state championships here in the Tulsa area for a rarity last week. Wasso finished second, Edmond Santa Fe. That was a little bit of a surprise, but again, anything can happen in single elimination. But it was a thrilling game, a great game, and then Duncan won 5A here. Soccer. Wow, what a interesting weekend at Rogers State. You had seven East-West matchups, and the West swept the first five. Just when you thought that the East was going to get shut out, Bishop Kelly girls won 10-0, and Booker T made it a 5A sweep for the Tulsa area, the Booker T boys. So congratulations to all the state champions and basically every team that got to the state finals. And but there was a stunning game in 6A boys on Friday night where Broken Arrow led 3-0 with 25 minutes to go, and they wound up losing in penalties in a penalty kick shootout. Norman North scored with 1.8 seconds left. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a lot of great action at the track and tennis championships in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Oh,
And
spring.
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna just say spring sports championships always it's always a fun time because usually we have area teams doing well and there's so many all the spring sports. It's always a great time.
Yeah, Kyler Brown, who Michael Peters. I hope everyone checked out Michael Peters' great feature on Kyler Brown last week, and he did not disappoint in the state track meet. He had a great track meet, and of course there were some other standouts as well. But Kyler Brown, one of the best sprinters in the nation.
We'll call that a show for this week. I'm Patrick Prince. He's Barry Lewis. We'll be back next week and we'll talk a little more spring football. Thanks for watching.